Welcome back to our Gym Challenge, League Challenge here in Psycho Turtle in Pico Rivera, California. Round number 2, we have 3, actually, of our SoCal staples here. We have Ryan Wayne facing off against Tyler Decky and their Bastiodon. Ryan running the
Bastiodon.
the CalRX Ice Rider, the Terra Fairy, Clear Amulet, Glacial Lands, High Horsepower, Trick Room Protect, as well as the Landorus Therian, Roaring Moon, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Urshifu Rapid Strike, and Amoonguss. Tyler Deacy with the Bastiodon, Chen Pao, Iron Hands, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Grimmsnarl, and that Miraidon, Terra Fairy, Choice Specs, Electro Drift, Dazzling Gleam, Volt Switch, Draco Meteor. We're going to see Bastiodon in this matchup because it is definitely supposed to match up against that Ice Rider.
I played this team at Sacramento. I do not think Tyler will lead it because of the Lando Eye. But I think he'll bring it in the back.
Yeah, that is actually a team sheet area, but I'm not going to say anything because it says Therian on the sheet. Oh, yeah. It's
well,
fine.
I knew it was Lando Eye because
it's fine. I'm not saying anything
anymore. So
Terran's out of the room. No one will know. It's going to be the Roaring Moon Landorus lead on one end and the Ogerpon Chen Pao on the other.
Wait, this is the Ryan's running the team that just won Sacramento.
Yeah.
I don't know how exact he has it because I don't know if it's a part of it. Ryan Acro on Ogre. I just see Tyler. I think obviously he knows how valuable that is.
Ogerpon does take that. Ogerpon, I don't know if this is the... does call that. And I don't know if this is the ludicrously defensive Ogerpon that we have seen a couple of times. I know Junshi was running it at
yeah,
San Antonio.
Junshi's is, from what he just said in Discord, that I think his is like ridiculously bulky, like max defense.
Yeah, maxed out defense.
Ours wasn't, but it was over 200 HP. So that's why that lived. I don't know the Roaring Moon. Right, but now, no Tailwind. Ogerpon comes in, it feels pressured to follow me so that Lando just gets eviscerated or force a Terra.
And Ogerpon will still take a lot of damage if it doesn't Brastalize here. I mean,
and then
you can feel pretty comfortable clicking Icicle Crash here, especially because your Focus Sash is still up, so you can just keep clicking your moves.
Yeah, and Tyler can just click Woodhammer and Icicle Crash. You could do that to force, if they don't wide guard, obviously punish Terra if they don't wide guard. But happen, he's just gonna follow me, and he is gonna Woodhammer.
Get rid of the Ogerpon here and do a solid 12 damage. Not 12, it was more than 12, it was like 30. It was still almost no damage.
But he's gonna get his Miraidon in here safe, and now of course the Lando Eye hasn't protected, but it's, both players still have Terra, but you're bringing in Miraidon. Obviously, I don't think Volt Switch will kill the Ogerpon, and Miraidon is slower than Chen Pao. So he can't go for Draco Meteor, kill Ogerpon, and then hit the Landorus. So I think you're probably going to have to Volt Switch here.
And I mean, that's still fine, all things considered. I mean, at the end of the day,
I think, he probably brought Bastiodon to the back, so I think Volt Switch into Bastiodon wouldn't be ideal. So I think maybe a Terra Fairy here and like Electro Drift to hit, and then try and maybe hope that Ogerpon just isn't that bulky. Obviously, this is a somewhat bulky Ogerpon. Just they already as San Antonio's probably bulkier, especially with the point. We're going to see most likely the Terra Fairy here from Tyler.
Yeah, that is Ty's Terra.
Not wanting to probably Volt Switch a Bastion onto this point. Senpou's still got his Sash online, so he's trying a lot of damage here. Could see a Deagling too. It's very realistic. Absolute shots that whether Terras or Tornadoes, Landers, they're cousins.
They are?
Yeah.
I guess they're cousins.
Whatever.
They were in like
there is the Draco though.
There is the Draco Meteor.
Guarantee the KO. Don't even bother with trying to Electro Drift, shenanigans, not knowing how much damage it does, blah blah. Just take the KO. Don't. And Earthbower, don't want to risk the miss. Miraidon, eat that, but now bring an Ice Rider. This is still has Terra available. This is Terra Fairy Ice Rider. So Does he Terra in front of Throat Chop, Terra in front of the Icicle Crash for Landorus. Either one of them could protect as well, but you don't want to double protect because that gives him right on a free split out.
I saw Landorus more as like Tornadus and Thunderous as like boss. Does that sound weird? Look at the
they're all the same.
No, but like you need to get both of them to get Landorus. Like Landorus is like in the lore, you know, like in the plot.
I'm not familiar enough with I'm not familiar enough with Gen 5 to know that. Oh
we get the Terra Fairy out of the Calyrex that can't be hit by the
clinch.
Yeah, can't be hit by the Draco Meteor anymore, as witnessed there, but it was going to the Landers anyway. Icicle Crash, not a ton of damage. We'll get the Trick Room off, and that's pretty big for Ryan. You can click Glacial Lance now, which feels very good. Should take out the Miraidon, as bulky as Restricteds are, but shouldn't be able to take that yet. Chen Pao going to maintain the sash there.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably just going to get Bastion on a safe switch in. The only issue is, like, just can't do any damage into this Ice Rider. Just has no damage left in the Ice Rider because of Terra Fairy. Obviously, both Wide Guard and... or not a Wide Guard. Wide Guard helps defend against it, but Body Press and Foul Blade is not going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big issue here. I mean, you do get more damage from the foul play. It's just a question of how close can you get to the 132 number that you need to get in terms of the remaining HP on this Calyrex. It is Bastiodon the Great, though. It is great. You know, Bastiodon is pretty great. Oh, I like seeing him so much. I'm so happy seeing Bastiodon on the field.
Yeah, I did not have any points. I had 0 VGC placements before about a month ago when somebody picked up Bastiodon and then the 6 of us took it to San Antonio and got it, I think, over 300 points.
Yeah, including the day 2 from Abby.
Yeah,
Landorus Protect here. This can be dangerous. Again, like, Calyrex is still taking some damage, and I guess this is the other option where if you just keep clicking Iron Defense, you're not...
Power Power will not KO.
Yeah, I mean, it can't KO.
That's +1 and Sword of Ruin, so that's
yeah, it's still going to be a ton of damage, though, and I think that's...
Icicle Crash goes into that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Body Press. I mean, Body Press is boosted by Sword of Ruin here. I just don't think it picks up for KO on Lando.
I really do think that the play there probably was to just try to focus down the Calyrex, try to get like a foul play and
it's
Icicle Crash into the Calyrex, see if that's enough damage, because the Icicle Crash wasn't a bad amount of damage, and foul play, I mean, it would have been resisted, but it also was against +1. Body Press not going to pick up the knockout onto the Landorus with the Sucker Punch, and High Horsepower not going to do it either, but Landorus going to get taken down, and
I think the issue there was the Ice Rider was much less likely to protect there, so you're a lot safer to double into Ice Rider there. The problem is that, you know, Bastion isn't really doing any damage. So yeah, you just end up not having enough damage in the Terra Fairy Ice Rider in the end of the game.
Yeah, now I think you have to. I'm thinking of things that I think you have to do. I think there's just no way back into this one. We'll get the Sucker Punch KO on the Landorus, but I think Glacial Lance here should pick up the knockout. And it does. Ryan with the victory in game number 1.
Yeah, this game was defined by Lando I, and I think that's obviously a tough matchup for this team. I played it a couple of times at San Antonio and did not beat it a single time.
Yeah.
It is very tough, and I think...
Although at the same time, I think the difference between a game defined by Lando I and a game where Lando I is kind of embarrassing is like one stray Icicle Crash, which could have landed. There was a turn where Icicle Crash could have just landed into a Lando I faster... earlier,
and that's just what's tough. Is also you've got he led with Roaring Moon. Obviously, you want to get rid of that. So Tailwind, but then
and that was the Landorus's Protect turn. That was a great turn for Kai.
Great turn. But then the problem is that the next turn, Fire Pond comes in, still can't hit it.
Yeah.
And so he pretty much got almost no opportunities to hit it. He did, kind of has to find a way around Follow Me and even Rage Powder as well on Amoonguss just to try and hit that Landorus. Obviously, there's like, trying to use like Terra Dazzling Gleam to hit it, those stuff, but it just won't pick up the one shot like Ice Rider or the Ice Crash will. So
yeah, and it's worth mentioning as well, I think, that the Ogerpon took a hit with very, very little HP at the beginning, that Acrobatics. I wonder what would... I don't know if that was a roll. It looks like the kind of range that would be a roll. And so I'm then curious, like, if that changes, does Ryan just steamroll the game way easier? And so there's a lot of things for Ty to try to work on for game number 2, and I think bringing the same 4 is probably the right answer for Ryan, and switching things up, not a terrible idea if you want to slightly change what you have out in front. Just because it was kind of annoying to have to protect Landorus every other turn. It did do a ton of work, but still. Game number 2, Ryan up 1-0. I think both these players are 1-0. I didn't check.
yeah, they are.
Okay. So a good start early on in this one. I have already forgotten what the benchmark is, because we only got 16 now in this tournament. I forgot what the benchmark is, because I don't... Yeah, we'll have 5 rounds, it's just I don't know what records we'll get in and what will bubble. Because I think it's an exact number with 16.
From what I remember, it's 2 will make it in with 2 losses by playing. I've bubbled in out of... I've actually bubbled in more than I bubbled out, so I've been pretty fast. But this is a pretty good lead.
I literally can't see what Ty is.
I have no idea what is behind that.
I literally cannot see whatever is behind Roaring Moon right now.
It's
Grimmsnarl.
It is Grimmsnarl. I saw it a second ago. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was funny. We were looking over at the records.
So Grimmsnarl does have screens, is able to get a bit of defense up onto this Miraidon. These are only physical attackers out right now, so you can click the Reflect pretty easily if you want to. You can also click the Thunder Wave and hit the Roaring Moon really hard.
Yeah, you're pressuring Spirit Break and Dazzling.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Spirit Break as well. Roaring Moon just has to protect this first turn. See what Tyler wants to go for, but at the same time, if Tyler goes for something kind of slow, like that Reflect, we'll have all of the damage from everything on the field right now for Ryan. And the Dazzling Gleam, that's a fine lock-in right now. There's not really anything the Ogerpon is going to do to these two. It's going to be the Ivy Cudgel into the Grimmsnarl, not going to get the crit.
Yeah, something I learned recently is Reflect and Light Screen actually don't have damage in doubles. It's actually 66%.
It is 66%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small difference, but it does make a difference, and I never really noticed it.
Yeah.
But it is a little weird specific thing about, I think, both the Roarveil and Light Screen Reflect. Which can change some damage counts. In fact, it's going to do half as much damage, and then it still kills. But yeah, without a crit, this Ogerpon's not doing much damage.
Yeah, and now Ryan's in kind of an awkward spot.
Yeah.
Kind of have to Terra if you want Roaring Moon to get to do really anything. I mean, it will move first, I'm pretty sure. I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll move first.
It will move first as Speed Booster. The only problem with going for Terra Flying is you're obviously going for Tailwind. The issue is that if you don't get rid of Grimmsnarl, it'll just stun away your whole team.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because now you're getting that transfer immunity away.
Ice Rider will get Thunder Wave.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's probably a good amount of speed, so under Tailwind it'll be faster and everything. But he thought on the Terra Flying.
You can see Ryan's face accepting that play.
I don't think it will KO. A Dazzling Gleam will KO, obviously. But
it won't, but that's brutal. That is a really, really brutal.
Because now Ryan can't go for Follow Me to stop Thunder Wave from going into that slot, because it's already Thunder Wave into that slot. And an amazing play to get Thunder Wave right on the Terra Flying. And and you know what? It is a pretty safe play. I mean, if he doesn't Terra Flying, or if he doesn't Terra Fairy, if he doesn't Terra there, he dies, right? That's the Dazzling Gleam. And then, the worst case scenario, you just waste a Thunder Wave.
On the good side, you did get your Tailwind up, so this Roaring Moon will still be faster than everything on the other side, because it's the same amount. Yeah, neutral versus the Tailwind versus the Thunder Wave.
And then you've got +1 speed,
Unless it's paralyzed? Okay, it's fine.
So no para. The Grimmsnarl lives!
That Grimmsnarl's so bulky.
And Dazzling Gleam. Will it pick up the KO? I don't remember how much it is.
Don't think it will.
So, I think
But it's starting to get close, and Ogerpon is probably going to be paralyzed next turn. Although, the good side of this is that you're probably going to get rid of Grimmsnarl right now. One way or another, you're probably going to, unless you're full parrot.
Or he switches. I mean, he could. I don't see him switching here, but I would have the thought in my mind at some point, maybe I want to save this thing just to get up.
Ooh, and the perfect turn to get that light screen up.
I was thinking about maybe getting light screen up.
Particularly on the turn when the Ogerpon switches out.
Yeah, and obviously you could have saved it to try and get Thunder Wave on the Ice Rider later, but at this point, Tailwind's had a couple of turns stalled. It won't take too much more to stall it out. And
well, and you've already bust such a big hole in this team, and you have your screens up for a solid extra couple of turns. Like that with the Light Clay, I think you still have 5 more turns.
Yeah, so Tyler's got Terra. He doesn't have the speed advantage, but the thing is, Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam is now just a KO on the Landers because it switched in.
Yeah.
So now, if he doesn't protect it, Terra Fairy's really safe. You don't take a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's nothing that hits Terra Fairy that hard right now. Except the Sludge Bomb, which
you know, he could go for that call. But
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not gonna let that happen. You can just follow me. Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam here, I think, is pretty safe.
Yeah.
He's gonna obviously have Bastion on the back, so you can set up Trick Room. You know, you have to set up Terra Fairy in your own Calyrex, but you can't because of the already burned Terra on the Roaring Moon. So, if you set up Trick Room, I mean, then the Fire Pond can just threaten damage this turn as well. I mean, you could just, you know, you could just Terra. You could,
well, the problem is, even like a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam will do a lot of damage. Like, Calyrex isn't going to be able to take too many of those.
Yeah, so here, I think Tyler can just pin him here with... So the thing is, Terra Fairy, even if Brian calls the Sludge Bomb into that slot, it's just way too weak of a move because it's not stab. So I think you just Terra Fairy here, Dazzling Gleam. It doesn't even matter because obviously it's faster, but I don't know the Ice Rider is faster. And even if it is, it's not going to pick up a KO either. And it protects.
Yeah.
We'll see if there was a Follow Me from Fire Pond or if it attacked into the... nope, just Follow Me's.
I think that's a safe play, and no reason not to go for the safe play at this point when you know that Landorus is out of the way. I like the Sandseer.
Misses the Ogerpon, but yeah, Murata does nothing.
These genies on stream are not having a good time today.
And I will point out that is a Life Orb Sheer Force boosted move, doing basically 30% to a offensive Pokemon. That is just
the power of screens, the power of restricteds, like that thing is just ridiculously bulky. And there's the Tailwind. Electricity's down, but that's not going to matter too much.
It will knock Miraidon's damage by about 30%, loses total attack boost, but it obviously doesn't affect its electric damage. I think...
Well, and I think it'll still... it won't knock out the Ogerpon, but it'll get pretty darned close.
I think you just click D-Gleam and Ivory Cudgel, because at this point, I just don't think Ice Rider can beat Bastion on Terra Fairy anymore. Yeah, and Foul Play...
Did a lot less damage than I thought, but...
Foul Play will pick up a two-shot of and actually, with Reflect still up...
yeah, I don't even know that you're going to be able to get to Bastiodon at this point. You do get the Trick Room, you do get a move, but I don't know what you have that's going to KO either of these Pokemon. I don't know, like, against Into Reflector, is Glacial Lance really going to pick up this knockout?
Double crit, yeah.
Double crit. Yeah, not even close.
Yeah. And Ivy Cudgel will just pick up...
yep, there we go. Game 3.
A crit.
And it gets the crit.
Well, that's a
crit for style.
Yeah, 1 in 8 odds for that crit.
I want this pizza.
I just smelled it, too.
I want the pizza, dude. We're going to Game 3.
Well, we still got a Game 3, so that's nice. So, Ryan, not...
It's always a Game 3 when there's pizza there.
No lead Lando Eye. And that was the key, I think, in that game. You know, the Landorus, it took damage to a point where he did not need to use Chien-Pao to beat it. In fact, he didn't even bring Chien-Pao.
Chien-Pao probably wasn't there. We don't know it was in the back.
Don't know it in the back, but it was very likely Bastiodon or...
Yeah, it was either Bastiodon or Chien-Pao, probably.
Either Bastiodon or Chien-Pao or Iron Hands. I mean, he's got a lot of options.
It could have been anything.
Right, exactly. That's what's interesting about this team, is that this matchup doesn't feel great, but you actually have a lot of options.
Yeah, and I think Tyler can basically run the same lead.
Although I do know that the Iron Hands is probably a little too fast for it to really do the Ice Rider, but this Ice Rider is fast. This is a Tail Room Ice Rider, so I think the Iron Hands might actually underspeed their Ice Rider, the Ice Rider that same team that won. So I think it might underspeed the Ice Rider, and so Hands is another option. Obviously, it's another ground leaf one, which isn't great. But it can punish Tailwind a little bit more, or punish Trick Room a little bit more. But it looks like he's not going to lead Lando Eye again. Which, I mean, I get it. You obviously can be under a lot of pressure early, but I mean, it exerts so much pressure into 5 Mons on you.
Yeah.
And I get why you want to keep it safe.
Yeah, and that's the thing, where it's like, it exerts a ton of pressure onto so many Mons, but at the same time, Wood Hammer, Icicle Crash, I mean, even just 2 Dazzling Gleams, as we saw, like, there's a lot of things that can hurt your Lando, and it's not the fastest Pokemon in the world. We're going to see that Miraidon Grimmsnarl lead again. It's going to be the Urshifu Ogerpon on the other end, switching things up for Ryan this game, bringing the Urshifu for the first time. I don't hate it. It breaks through the screens.
Yeah, ignore screens.
Ignore screens. Doesn't break them, but still.
It's nice because, I didn't even think about this, Tyler gets a lot more freedom without Fake Out. Most Miraidon teams are either... There's a few teams that run Terra Ghost, there's like one specific team, and then the rest of them have Choreograph. Yeah. So this team, which is obviously probably the best team in the format right now, that Ryan's running, just rarely doesn't have Fake Out.
Yeah.
And so he obviously has double redirection, tail room, big damage off, Lando and your first two and stuff like that. But without Fake Out, Miraidon without Choreograph is a lot nicer at a time. But we're going to see the Terra Water here.
We got the Terra Water, follow me.
He's going to try and get rid of that Ursh. He's trying to get rid of Grimmsnarl immediately.
And so far, it's... I'm curious what the Miraidon's going to do. That's the big thing. No screen for the Grimmsnarl, so the Grimmsnarl's just going to be out of the way. We're going to get the Dazzling Gleam. That does a pretty solid amount to Urshifu. That is a really nice play for Tyler.
Yeah, this is good. And he doesn't even kill. Yeah, second
wow, and it doesn't even take down the Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, I've had somebody try to do this.
Mystic Water, Terra Water, Surging Strikes, and it's not even to pick up the knockout.
I'm fairly certain we were EV to live that, because I had somebody go for that and it just not pick up the KO.
Yeah. And no Aqua Jet, so this Urshifu is just done.
Oh yeah, and I can't even pick up the KO. So now you get a free screen up, and you've burned. And the thing is, you burn Terra. So even if he gets that KO on Grimmsnarl, right? Yes, you do stop screens from going up, but you no longer have Terra for your Ice Rider. And Shenpao or Firepon can come in and just blow up.
I like this play here because you do get to maintain your Urshifu a little bit longer and get rid of the Grimmsnarl here.
But 70% of the time you do.
That's true. That is true.
30% of the time you are going to get paralyzed, and this Ogerpon is not going to get a move off. But it will get a tiny bit of HP back as well.
I mean, tiny bit of HP matters here when you're not taking a ton of damage. Okay, it's 5 HP. That probably doesn't matter a lot.
I mean, there are rolls that can be that low.
That's true. That is true. When Ogerpon takes a hit with the 3 HP remaining, we'll know. We'll remember.
Well, yeah. I mean, it genuinely could be the difference between it eating Terra Fairy Dazzling.
At the same time, it's a pretty awkward spot where, I mean, at this point, is there any downside in just clicking Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam at this point with Miraidon?
The only issue is that you lose Terra Fire Ivy Cudgel. And Terra Fire Ivy Cudgel threatens the Oko on the Ice Rider. So if you keep your Terra as long as you can, you're not defensively threatened here. You have no you're guaranteed to pick up the KO on the Urshifu. You're not KOing the Ogerpon even with Terra, so you have no reason to Terra here. Might as well save the option. Because Ogerpon, you still have your Ogerpon at full HP. So if Ice Rider is, I think the Lando has to come in at this point. And with no speed control, he can just go for D-Gleam, and I wouldn't be surprised if he literally let his Miraidon down. Because you can stack Miraidon to get the damage, but he does Terra Fairy.
Yeah.
So I guess everything I just said can get thrown out the window. My whole line that I just created is thrown out the window by Terra Fairy,
and that's being a caster.
Well, and I get it too, because there is the chance that Ryan switches here, and if he switches, this is devastating damage into Ice Rider in the back.
Yeah. Well, and frankly, if there's no switch, you still just knock out both things here pretty comfortably.
Oh, yeah, you do, because the damage, now you can just go for any puzzle here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there is... Now, I will say that something that people watching may not know, this Firepon is not faster than this Landorus. It is not faster than... I think it's probably faster than Modest Landorus, but Oh, wait a minute. Actually, okay, the Landorus that I fought in the past were all timid. But this Landorus is slow, and I know it's slow because it's But I actually think this Landorus might be slower than both Mon. It might be slower than Firepon here. If the Landorus is slower than Fire Palm, which I believe it is, this game is pretty much over because he can't outspeed and threaten the Ogre Pawn with his Lando.
Yeah, I think it's just tough anyway because D-Gleam is just going to do a bunch of damage.
Yeah, D-Gleam might be called just KO on Calyrex.
And it gets the crit anyways.
Well,
wow. I think that one's it for this one.
Did ID Cudgel pick up the KO? If ID Cudgel picks up the KO, it would not have mattered.
Yep.
Did not matter. Okay, a crit did not matter there. There's no way Lando I is 3v1ing against the two full HP Mons.
With Reflect up.
With Reflect. Well, obviously, Lando didn't need the Reflect. But, yeah, at that point, that crit did not matter. There's just no way he can win a 3-on-1 with Lando.
Yeah.
Especially with Follow Me, Ogre Pawn, and a Dazzling Gleam that he can't resist.
And Tyler Deacy, I will give you the I'll give you the correct name pronunciation on the win call with the round 2 victory. I'm going to go to 2-0 on the day. We'll take a quick break. I want to eat pizza. I want to look at this shirt. We will be right back.
Jerseys.
Yeah, we got our jerseys. Thank you to Dean.